Hello everyone. Are you preparing for JL or DL in zoology? And this video is absolutely for you. In this particular video, I am going to give a 75 days absolute strategic plan which will help you to crack the JL or DL compulsory. See, most of the teachers who are preparing for the JL and DL, they are not having the exact idea what chapters we have to study very clearly and how depth we have to study, what kind of books to be followed from each chapter, how many number of questions that we can expect. I am observing many teachers throughout the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. They will only focus on the card data, non-card data. Otherwise, they will focus on very few chapters like human physiology. Apart from that, no one is reading any other chapter. In case of zoology, we have many topics such as immunology, developmental biology, ecology, evolution, molecular biology, genetics. All these chapters we have to study. Then only we can qualify the exam with a better rank. So in this particular video, I will explain you along with the timetable from each and every chapter, how many number of questions you can expect, how many number of hours you have to study, which books to be followed. Everything I will explain you in a crystal clear manner. And I'm requesting everyone watch the complete video. You will get a wonderful idea about your preparation. So before explaining, this is the information about the commencement of the new batch, which is starting from the 1st June 2023. Okay. So in this batch of zoology, it is for the JL also as well as the DL also. And most importantly, in this batch, you will get all the live and recorded classes. You will get all the chapter-wise test. You will get all the mock test. Right. So if anyone is truly interested and if anyone is serious aspirant, then only please call on this below number to get the details. Okay, now let's start. So whatever the information I'm going to give you right now will help you a lot in your preparation. So I'm requesting everyone try to understand the complete lecture what I'm going to deliver right now. So if you look into the chapter of biochemistry, see, in case of our zoology syllabus, as all of us know very well, the biochemistry chapter is included in the cell biology. Okay, so cell biology and biochemistry was included in one single chapter in case of our zoology syllabus. So let me separately explain you what you have to study in the biochemistry. See, most of the people who are preparing for the JL and DL, they will just focus on the cell organelles, plasma membrane, and they will leave the entire biochemistry part. You should not do that. See, because you can expect at least 4 to 6 questions very surely from this particular biochemistry, not to get confused with that. So what kind of concepts we have to study? If you look into the concept of cellular respiration, in our syllabus, it was very clearly mentioned glycolysis, Krebs cycle, etc., and oxidative phosphorylation. Right? See, what kind of books you have to study? See, I see because it's a completely PG level, either you have to follow the Pathfinder, White and White, or the Leninger. I know most of the teachers do not have that much of time to study all these topics. Either you can study the Pathfinder, otherwise you can study the PDF material, whatever I'm going to give you, along with the PPTs, whichever I teach you in the classroom, which is more than sufficient. So how to study? When you are studying the glycolysis, you have to study the 10 steps of the glycolysis, enzymes involved in the glycolysis, same with the Krebs cycle, and what kind of electron acceptor complexes that are involved in the electron transport chain, complete mechanism of oxidative phosphorylation. See, this most of the students can study very easily, and you people has to study the regulatory enzymes. That is very important. If you get a difficult question, you can expect the difficult question only from the regulatory enzymes. Inhibitors of electron transport chain, PPP pathway. And next concept of biochemistry, you have to study enzyme kinetics. Most of the students, they will just study what are enzymes, characteristics of enzyme, classification of enzyme, and they will leave it. But if you get a very difficult question, undoubtedly you can get the difficult question from the enzyme kinetics only. That too from the Michaelis-Menten equation. So it is very important you people has to study entire classification along with the MM equation, not to get confused with this particular point. Next one, beta oxidation of a fatty acid. Most of the people will, they just read carbohydrate metabolism and they will leave the lipid metabolism. In the syllabus, it was very clearly mentioned. You have to study the metabolism of fatty acid also. You have to study the chemistry of the lipids also. So you have to study different type of lipids, like a simple lipid, compound lipid, derived lipid, their classification, functions, bonding involved over there, and beta oxidation of fatty acid. How many number of ATP, how many number of NADH, how many number of FADH2 are getting released, and where the beta oxidation of fatty acid is happening. All these information you have to read very depth and very elaboratively. And in the zoology, it was very clearly mentioned the carbohydrate chemistry and protein chemistry. Here also you can expect 1 or 2 questions. In the carbohydrate chemistry, majorly focus on the classification, especially linkages. Suppose example, if you look into a polysaccharide like a starch, glycogen, cellulose, inulin, chitin, all these are all the various examples of the polysaccharide and their linkages, whether they made up of alpha 1,4 or beta 1,4, where they are getting synthesized, what is their function, all you have to study very elaboratively. And if you look into the protein, you have to study the primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure, quaternary structure of proteins along with their linkages. Friends, you can expect minimum 4 to 6 questions from the biochemistry. So you should not leave the any chapter you should not leave. You have to give a highest importance to these chapters. As I already told you, in the chapter of cell biology only, in the zoology syllabus, biochemistry is included. Now, friends, if you look into the cell biology syllabus, it is very easy. Trust me, you can expect most of the time very straightforward questions only. So if you want to read the cell biology, you have to read the standard reference book like a CARP or Ladish or the at least Pathfinder. If you can't read this, we will provide you the study material along with the PowerPoint presentation. If you read that, that is more than sufficient. How many number of questions you can expect? You can expect minimum 8 to 10 number of questions. So it's a very important. And most of the students, when they're reading the cell biology chapter, they will just read, suppose if you're reading the plasma membrane, they will just read what kind of a proteins are present in the membrane, what kind of a lipids present on the plasma membrane, and cholesterol. You have to study along with their structure, functions. Most importantly, you have to understand the diseases which are related to the all organelles. Suppose example, if you are studying a mitochondria, chloroplast, peroxisome. Mitochondria, chloroplast, peroxisome contain abundant amount of enzymes. So what happens if there is a deficiency of that particular enzyme? So you have to remember all those diseases compulsory. Along with that, you should also remember locations. Suppose example, if you take a mitochondria, mitochondria is the region where the Krebs cycle occurs. Mitochondria is the region where the electron transport chain occur. Mitochondria is the region where the fatty acid breakdown occur. Mitochondria is the organelle where the amino acid breakdown occur. So you have to remember what are the various biological events that are happening in all the organelle. Especially which organelles every student has to give the highest preference. You have to give the highest preference to mitochondria, peroxisome, lysosome, Golgi complex, RER, SER, nucleus, then cytoskeleton. See friends, these 9 organelles are extremely important for the exam, where the questions were repeatedly asked. And in the cell biology, apart from the organelle, you have a specialized concept, structure of heterochromatin, euchromatin. This also most of the teachers studied during MSc level, but the very important concept, transposons. Most of the people did not study this concept. It is a very important concept, mostly very difficult concept. You have to study different type of transposons present in the plants, different type of transposons present in the animal, type of transposon, which are DNA transposon, which are RNA transposon, what is the mechanism of transposition. Compulsory we have to study very depth. The next, cell cycle regulation and cell division. See, all the students in your intermediate level, BSc level, MSc level, you all people studied the mitosis and meiosis, which is very easy. You will get the question compulsory. But what is difficult? Cell cycle regulation is difficult. Very difficult it is. because you have to focus on different type of cyclin molecule, different type of CDK molecule, which are involved in the different phases, like in the G1 phase, S phase, G2 phase, M phase. What kind of CDK molecules are involved? What kind of a cyclins are involved? All those we have to study. It's a very important, very mandatory, because mitosis and meiosis is an easy concept. Which is the most difficult concept is the cell cycle regulation. If you can answer the difficult question, obviously your rank will be varied from the other people. Next, most of the students will neglect the evolution. See, if you look into the evolution, whether you are preparing for the DL or whether you are preparing for the JL, in the evolution, I'm talking about our JL and DL syllabus. It is a kind of Telugu Academy level. It is a kind of a neat level syllabus only. What you have to study, everyone remember, you have to study the theories of evolution, like Lamarckism, Darwinism. What Lamarck proposed, what are the merits and demerits, what is the theory of a Darwin, what are the merits and demerits, and most importantly, to explain the evolution of a cell. We have many experiments like Oparin experiment, Haldane experiment, experiment of Miller. So from the experimental also, we can get a very direct and straightforward questions only. Then friends, geological timescale. 100% you are going to get the question either in the JL or DL. The question compulsory you will get from the geological timescale. So friends, apart from that, in the syllabus, it was very clearly mentioned how does the evolution of the human occur. Okay, so starting from the Homo sapiens, all till the Neanderthals, all the type of evolution means from the starting of primitive man till the development of an advanced level of organism, we have to study entire evolution. Then friends, most important, you have to focus on the important definitions like convergent evolution, divergent evolution, co-evolution, adaptive radiation, differences between the homologous and analogous organs. You have to study, right? And if you get a numerical question in the evolution chapter, there is only one concept where you can get the numerical question, that is the Hardy-Weinberg principle. Apart from Hardy-Weinberg principle, there is no other chapter where you can expect the numerical based question. Then a very, very important chapter for the zoology people, for JL as well as the DL, that is the human physiology. Not to get confused with that point. So every one of you listen, under the human physiology, you can expect nearly 10 to 15 questions, more than that. So what kind of book you have to study? If you read the NEET level, is it sufficient? I can tell to all of you friends, if you study the NEET level, it is sufficient 70 to 75%. You have to read little depth since it's a PG level. So for that, you can use the PPT, whatever we provide while teaching the lesson. And how to study? Suppose example, if you are reading an endocrine system, how to study endocrine system? All the students remember, you have to study name of the hormone, from which gland it is released, and most importantly, every student will neglect is which hormone is derived from the which amino acid precursor. That is very important, you have to study friends. Suppose example, adrenaline derived from which amino acid, histamine is derived from which amino acid, their deficiency diseases, all we have to study compulsory, along with their deficiency disorders also. It's a from alone endocrine system only, trust me, you can expect 2 to 3 questions very shortly. Minimum 2 questions you can expect. That much important it is. Respiratory system, remember everyone, you don't get any question from the anatomy. So you don't need to read anything about the nose, pharynx, larynx. What you have to focus on? Bronchi, lungs, alveoli, most importantly, mechanism of breathing. That is mechanism of inspiration, mechanism of the expiration. Most importantly, friends, all the breathing patterns, like tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, residual volume, lung capacity. From here also you can expect the numerical based questions. Apart from that, a very important concept every student has to study in the respiratory system is hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve. It's a very important, where you can expect a graphical type of questions also, but very easy it is. Then if you look into the blood circulation and cardiovascular, when we are reading the blood circulation, friends, we all read about RBC physiology, type of the WBC, their total count, and the functions performed by them. And which is difficult in the blood circulation, that is the cardiovascular system. If you get a difficult question, you can get the question from ECG. What does the P wave represents? What does the QRS wave represents? What the ST interval? What kind of a disease can occur if the P wave is not showing properly in the ECG? This is also extremely important. Every student has to focus. And in the nervous system, you have to understand different type of nervous system. Remember everyone, whenever you are reading the nervous system, you no need to focus much on the anatomy. That is, you no need to focus much on the brain structure, parts of the brain. Their anatomical features don't concentrate. Concentrate on the physiology, especially what is the structure of the neuron composure of what, and different type of, most important friends, different type of a neuroglial cells like astrocytes, oligodendrocytes, all the type of neuroglia cells we have to read compulsory. Then we have to focus on all the type of neurotransmitter, their functions, their amino acid derivatives. You have to remember which is an excitatory neurotransmitter, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. You have to read compulsory. And if you get a difficult question, you can get the question from the resting membrane and action potential. There is a chance even you can expect the question from the graphical also. Excretory system, you can expect matching question, you can expect the statement related question also. In the excretory system, majorly you have to focus on what kind of ion is getting reabsorbed at which location. In proximal convoluted tubule, which are getting reabsorbed. In distal convoluted tubule, which are getting reabsorbed. Loop of Henle, ascending limb, descending limb, convoluted tubule, all mechanisms we have to study. And most importantly, friends, the hormones, very important, the hormones which are controlling the glomerular filtration, which are vasoconstrictors, which are vasodilators, we have to study compulsory. Then sense organs, you have to focus on the anatomical part in the sense organ, especially focus on the ear and eye. I'm requesting you to read entire ear and eye. And digestive system, you can expect here also 2 to 3 questions. Digestive system, very generalized, straightforward questions you can expect. In the small intestine, what kind of hormones are present? Where the maximum absorption of the lipid occur? Where the maximum absorption of protein takes place? What kind of hormones involved over there? What kind of glands are releasing what kind of secretions? These kind of questions are very common. Along with that, you have to read vitamins, their deficiency diseases, most importantly, all the deficiency diseases of entire alimentary canal or entire digestive system. You should not skip. You can expect 10 to 15 questions alone from the human physiology. Very, very important unit. Now, so zoology people also has to study the chapter of ecology. 99% of the zoology people will completely leave ecology. If you do that, unnecessarily you are losing the marks. So you have to focus completely on the ecology. In your syllabus, very specially mentioned as a separate chapter. They have not mentioned as a small subunit. A separate unit. You can expect 8 to 10. So most of the zoology people, they will try to leave the ecology. Please don't do that mistake. I want you to read the ecology compulsory. You have to focus on habitat and niche. You have to focus on different rules, especially Gauss principle, Allen rules, Glogger's rule, Bergman's rule. Very important population ecology. In the population ecology, most of the time you can get the questions from R and K selection. You can get the graphical question from the population growth curve. You can get the numerical question from the mark recapture method I have mentioned here. And type of lot of community interaction. Compulsory you will get the question. Symbiosis, amensolism, commensalism, mutualism, parasitism, predation, all you have to read compulsory. Then in the ecosystem ecology, we have to read pyramid of energy, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of number, and different type of ecosystem and their characteristics, like a forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, aquatic ecosystem, tundra ecosystem, all we have to read compulsory. And especially when we are reading the applied ecology, see, in the syllabus, it was very clearly mentioned. List of Project Tiger Zones, national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves. You have to study all India wide also. At the same time, you have to specially focus in the state of the Telangana and state of the Andhra Pradesh. In this way only we have to read it. And you have to focus on the ozone depletion, water pollution, air pollution, BOD method, COD method. I am requesting every zoology student not to leave the ecology chapter. It's a very important. You can get a maximum number of questions. Next, developmental biology. This is also very easy for the zoology people. But friends, here you have to study little depth, because if you're a in your BSc or MSc, if you study the developmental biology little depth, that is starting from spermatogenesis, oogenesis, cleavage, and gastrulation. Most of the students will read only spermatogenesis, oogenesis, and cleavage. They will leave the process of gastrulation. Gastrulation and cleavage are most important topics. And when you are reading the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, you will read only about the sperm formation and egg formation. You leave the fertilization. You have to read the fertilization in a different organisms. How does the fertilization occur in the amphibians? How does the fertilization occur in the sea urchin? In the syllabus, they specially mentioned. And the special emphasis on capsitation. What is capsitation? How the sperm is getting matured. That is also very important. Where does the capsitation occur? How much time it will take place? What kind of proteins are involved? And when you are reading the cleavage, you have to read the cleavage in sea urchin, cleavage in mammals, cleavage in amphibians, cleavage in insects, cleavage in fish. We have to study different levels of the cleavage and what are the type of eggs. Most importantly, what are telolecithal, mesolecithal, centrolecithal, elecithal, macrolecithal, what is called meroblastic cleavage, what is called holoblastic cleavage, means which is complete cleavage, which is incomplete cleavage. You have to study compulsory. In specifically, they have mentioned types of placenta, right? And very, very, very important in the developmental biology is genes. If you forgot to read the genes involved, you never ever answer the question. Most of the time, the questions will come from genes involved. What kind of genes? Like pair rule genes, gap genes, segment polarity genes, homeotic genes, maternal genes, zygotic genes. So a lot of genes are there. You have to read it compulsory for the exam, right? Then I am observing almost all the people who are preparing for the zoology, they will leave the immunology. Trust my words blindly. In your zoology paper, most difficult type of questions will come from the immunology only, because immunology is a type of chapter where you can get a basic level questions, you can get a application based questions also. So that's why, friends, you have to read the immunology chapter very correctly. And actually, even for the JL and DL, the syllabus is very less syllabus only immunology. That is, I can say that it is very lucky part here. Because if you look into the set and net exam, the immunology is very depth. But here they have very clearly mentioned cells of immune system. So you have to study. Remember everyone, what exactly you have to study. Macrophages, dendritic cell, B lymphocyte and their type, T lymphocyte and their type, all the other type of the WBC, the differences between innate immune system and adaptive immune system, which is more difficult. MHC molecule, major histocompatibility proteins and its structure, all the 5 type of antibodies along with their structure and functions, primary and secondary lymphoid organs, how does the preparation of monoclonal antibody occur, all barriers, anatomical barrier, phagocytic barrier, natural killer cell, interferons, interleukins. The syllabus is very small syllabus, but trust me, you can expect a very difficult or application based or depth of the conceptual questions only from immunology. I never encourage anyone to leave the immunology. Now, genetics. Most of the students, I used to observe when the zoology people are studying the genetics, you will only read 3 topics. What you will read, most of the students, they will only focus on the Mendel principle. They will focus on the monohybrid, dihybrid, trihybrid cross, and they will only focus on the extra Mendel principles. Friends, you are having a lot of syllabus to study. You have to study bacterial genetics. How does the transformation, conjugation, transduction, and sexduction occur? How does the recombination occur? Most importantly, mutations. Mutations are extremely important for the exam. And in the syllabus, they have very specially mentioned Down syndrome, sex anomalies in case of Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, hermaprodism, many number of diseases they specifically mentioned. Apart from that, some students will forgot to study the chromosomal alteration like a deletion, duplication, inversion, translocation, polyploidy, monoploidy, nullisomy, monosomy. All you have to study compulsory, friends. So you can't study the big books like a Russell. If you can find the time, read the Pathfinder. Otherwise, read the study material and PPT that we provide in the class. Apart from this, histology. If you want to read the entire histology, you have to read a very book like a Tara, which is very depth. So I will provide you a very simple notes to all of you. That is more than sufficient. What you read is, instead of reading all this, only focus on epithelial, connective, bone, cartilage, skin, liver, pancreas, kidney, testes, and ovary. Focus on only on this 10. You have to study, see what is a histology actually. You have to study the microanatomy. Okay. Suppose example, if you are studying a liver, you have to understand, is there any lobes or is there any, what we can say, how does the blood supply is happening in the liver? Suppose example, if you're reading the pancreas, what are exocrine portion of the pancreas? What are the endocrine portion of the pancreas? What portion, exocrine portion synthesize anything, or endocrine portion, what kind of hormones they synthesize? What is their function? So you have to study the deeper structure and functions, nothing else. You will get a very straightforward questions only in histology. Then when it comes to the unit 1 and 2 and 3, you can study whatever the book you can get. You can study, you can strictly stick to your Telugu Academy level, nothing extra to read. If you get a straightforward question, you will get only from unit 1, 2, 3 only. All these 3 units together, you will get 20 to 22 marks, 20 to 22 questions. So you remember, every student or every teacher who are preparing for JL and DL, you have studied all these 3 units many times. You are teaching to your students also many times, which you have to become expert. You have to become expert in genetics, molecular biology, immunology, ecology, developmental biology, human physiology, biochemistry, evolution. These are all the chapters you have to become expert. If you don't read these chapters, if you just read car data, non-car data, you never ever get a good rank, because it is not a theory exam, it is a competitive exam. And for all of you, I have prepared a wonderful timetable also. If you follow our 75 days course, I will help you how to study. So immunology, I have assigned 10 days. I will tell you how to study immunology in 10 days. I will explain you how to study developmental biology in 7 days, genetic 10 days. Why I have kept human physiology 10 to 15 days? Because it is the highest weightage chapter. We have to study from very basic to the very depth. So for every single chapter, I have allotted a specific number of days. If you strictly follow that many number of days, and if you follow my lessons very correctly, I can 100% give you the guarantee, not 50, 60%, 100% give you the guarantee. You can very surely qualify the exam with a very good rank. And remember, I am saying that I will help you to get the rank very surely. How difficult they may frame the question paper, whether it's a TSPSC, APPSC or Gurukul, how difficult they may frame the question paper. If you follow my lessons correctly, I can give you the guarantee you can very surely crack the question paper. But you people has to work extremely harder. I know many people are working teachers, many are housewives. So, but if you can't spend, so from the June 1st till August 15, if you spend minimum 4 to 6 hours, I am giving you the guarantee 100% you can crack the exam with a very good rank. Surely you can get the position. So the batch is going to start from the June 1st. If truly and sincerely aspired student only, please call me. Okay, please don't call me, to ask silly doubts. If you're really passionate about cracking the exam, then only call me, because please don't waste your time and don't waste my time as well. Okay, and if you want to see the demo lectures, you can see many demo lectures which are in the YouTube. Okay, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you.